Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today to bring you another unscripted rant video. You guys seem to like these. And today's topic, there's just so much to rant about. The Gamer has once again proven why they are quickly becoming the worst gaming publication that there is. There's a lot of competition in that field. You have Eurogamer, you have Kotaku, the Mary Sue, which, I mean, they're not really gaming, but they're garbage, so they're being included. But I wanted to talk to you about this article because it's Star Wars related, and we all know how much I love talking about modern Star Wars, and also because I'm going on a vacation. I know I just started getting back in the rhythm putting out videos, so I apologize. I'll be taking about a week off. I'm gonna be down in LA for Anime Expo. I'm really excited about this. I love Anime Expo and it's been so long since I've been able to go, but that's why I wanted to record this video so you have something to remember me by until I get back. I'll be there with you in your heart and deep in your ear. So what are we here to talk about? Well, a brand new open world Star Wars game has been announced by Ubisoft and it looks pretty okay.
He's fucking dead!
The presentation has a lot of that heavily scripted feel, but the game looks decent, got some stealth, some shooting. I really liked the quick draw that we got to see during the gameplay. And you can use this cute little alien to pick up things and bring it back to you. I mean, nothing revolutionary, nothing groundbreaking, but it looks fun enough. Plus, it lets you punch an alien in the face.
You're one ugly motherfucker.
And I would be remiss if I did not mention this new droid. It's a commando droid in a trench coat. Oh yeah, this droid right here, he fucks.
What are you, gay?
There's a lot to cover if you're a fan of Star Wars or you're just a fan of open world video games in general, but the gaming media really wants you to focus on something that is very important, something that is crucial to this new totally original character, Hanita Solo. It's probably not her real name, but it's what I'm gonna call her. Games journalists, having never played a single game in their entire collective lives, are shouting, screaming that gamers are in an uproar, having to play as a filthy girl in a video game, as if this is the first time in history that this has ever occurred. Get your disgusting squishy milk bags away from my video games. You think we want all of that estrogen over here? Of course, somewhere in these articles, I'm certain they provide some examples of these upset, outraged gamers. Perhaps a couple of notable Twitter accounts have tweeted about this, or maybe some big YouTubers have made videos expressing their burning rage of having to play as a hot brown lady in a Star Wars game. Did I roll my R's because she looks kind of Hispanic? Looking back, that's subconsciously probably. But I can do that, it's okay, because I'm Spanish and Mexican. YouTube, please don't take my channel away. So as I was saying, I'm sure there are countless examples in these articles of gamer rage about having to play as this woman. Right?
You are dead wrong.
Look, I know journalism is hard for you guys, but you're better than this. Who am I kidding? We all know you're not. In today's video, we're going to be going through what is possibly the most unhinged, bitter, and condescending games journalist trash that I have ever covered on this channel. I legitimately could not stop laughing when I got to the second paragraph. Trust me when I tell you, you're not going to want to miss this. This video might be on the longer side, I'm not too sure yet. Kind of just ranting again. You guys seem to like the unscripted rant videos, so here I am to give you more of what you want, at least according to YouTube analytics. As always, if you enjoy me and want to support the content that I create, be sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're feeling like a real big dick individual, that goes for you too, ladies, drop a comment down in the comment section below and let me know what your favorite Star Wars game is. I always go back and forth on that one. It's between KOTOR and Republic Commandos. I lean more towards Republic Commandos just because I love clones so damn much. Anyway, let's get into this article. The Gamer has graciously decided to drop this article for us to enjoy together. There's so much divisiveness in this world, and it's nice to know that we can rely on such a garbage publication to just bring us all together so we can all laugh collectively at how stupid you are. The article is titled, "Men Are Complaining About Playing as Girls in Video Games Again. This time in Star Wars. Gamer masculinity can be so fragile." You can just taste the bitterness. Stop the presses. Grown adult men are bitching about Star Wars again. They're mad they'll have to play as Kay Vess, a, dare I say it, woman. First of all, way to discount all of the women who bitch about the absolutely heap of fiery garbage that is the current state of Star Wars films and television. But women don't matter here, so let's keep the attention on the gender that does matter, the men. As a woman, which I'm sure many of you watching this video are,
You are dead wrong.
don't you find it a little bit insulting to just constantly be left out of these conversations? And it's usually other women that are writing these kinds of articles that say, men just hate X. When in reality, if you look at a lot of modern pop culture, like what's going on with Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, basically franchises that we all used to love and care about that are now being used as nothing more than political sounding boards for hack writers. It's always these articles about how white men hate this, men are against this, when in reality, there's plenty of women in these fandoms and there's plenty of women who play video games. All I'm saying is that it's not very diverse, it's not very inclusive, to forget about the women who may be complaining about having to play as this generic Han Solo ripoff. I really do hope that there's more to her than this, because so far, from what we've seen, literally just another kind of smuggler archetype. I mean, it's nothing offensive, it's nothing that's gonna not make me want to buy the game. I just think that they could do a little bit better. Maybe they'll fall back on the Disney trope of, it's yet another Jedi who has survived Order 66, another Jedi that fled the temple and the Empire just said, just let him go. There's no life signs aboard. But you have women like Vera Dark or Anna, that Star Wars girl. Women who have been very critical of Star Wars and how companies portray women in modern films, TV, and video games. I mean, how do we go from powerful, beautiful, and lovable women in games like Samus, Lara Croft, Bayonetta, to absolutely unbearable monstrosities like Abby, who has about as much charisma as a wet pile of gravel with the sex appeal to match? And now, since I'm on the topic, why is Alloy in this image? Why'd you put her here? Who was mad about playing as Alloy? She's great. People weren't mad about playing as her. They were mad at the developers for making her look like Nikocado Avocado in the second game. Mando, how dare you bring up how these women look? The way they look shouldn't matter. Well, I mean, if you're Kotaku, it matters a lot, because they forgot, or they think that you're too stupid to remember that Samus is a female because, you know, she's always in armor. And no, I'm not making that up. So just remember, if you're playing a video game and your girl's in armor, take the helmet off every now and then, or take the breastplate off, just to remind yourself that you're playing as a woman. Which, I mean, it kind of flies in the face of the normal arguments that you see from these kind of progressive types, but whatever. I can't remember if I'm playing as a girl unless I can see her tits. Let me see her milkers. Sorry, I was just channeling my inner Kotaku writer. Are you ready for the second paragraph? Yes, we're 10 minutes in and we're only in the second paragraph. I have no idea if we're going to get through this entire article. I don't know if I can even mentally handle it, let alone you. I'm sorry that I'm putting you through this, but at least we're going through it together. The second paragraph reads, people are trotting out the usual reasons. What if I relate to male characters more because I'm a man? I'm sorry you don't have enough media literacy to understand that games can have meaning outside of how much you, personally, relate to the character and their gender.
I say, hold up, wait a minute. Right.
Welcome to the side of logic and sanity. I never thought this day would come. Finally, something we can all agree on. Now, I don't know if this was an attempt at being sarcastic from this writer, mocking gamers and people online, like myself, who have for years been saying this very same thing when being beaten over the head with diversity, equity, and inclusion in video games. Too often do we see unhinged rants of progressives in the gaming space screaming about how they just can't relate to white male protagonists, which is why representation matters so much to them. When in reality, a character's gender, race, religion, sexual orientation really shouldn't even be that big of a factor when deciding whether or not you can relate to a character. Relating to a character is deeper than that. It's about their actions, what they believe in. That's what makes characters resonate so much with audiences, and in this case, gamers, people who are playing as these characters. And anecdotally, just some background for me, because I know you care so much. If you've been around any of my streams or you've played games with me, I always play as female characters. Final Fantasy XIV, female catgirl bard. Fallout New Vegas, got a female gunslinger. Mass Effect, played as femshep. Cyberpunk 2077, female street kid. It can certainly vary. If I'm trying to actually roleplay a game, I'll pick a male character, but it's very rare that I can get that sucked into a game and the game's universe for me to want to try to play as myself living in that universe. Most of the time, my characters are based off of an original character of mine, Val, who you've seen on this channel as well as the Sierra 556 channel, but that's the beauty of choice, I suppose. And with all of that being said, I've still yet to see where gamers are in an uproar about having to play as this woman in a Star Wars game. I think more people were talking about having to play as a girl in Star Wars Battlefront 2 when that game got announced. I mean, we were just coming off of The Force Awakens with a female lead, and then Rogue One, which again had a female lead. That's when I actually saw people complaining about, another strong female character, of course, coming from Disney. Because as we all know, according to Kathleen Kennedy, the Force is female. But with this game, I've seen nothing but positivity. People seem to be very excited for the prospect of an open-world Star Wars game, and nothing really of note to be said of this woman because we don't even really know who she is yet. We don't know what she's all about. Though I will say there was a very worrying quote in the trailer, and it was probably just a throwaway line. I'm just reading into it. Internet brain rot is kicking in, but she's like, "I've been held back my entire life." And it's like, yeah, you and basically everybody else in Star Wars. Do you know how much worse things could be? There's slavery in your universe, okay, lady? There's worse things than the patriarchy keeping people down out there. There's giant space slugs that keep sex slaves, damn it. The article continues. The only remotely valid argument here is that people were hoping to be able to customize their character, since it's an open world game. Well, seeing as how it's not a role-playing game, and it wasn't announced to be a role-playing game, I don't really think there's that many people, if any, because again, we haven't seen any evidence of any kind of outrage about this character. I don't think anybody is upset that you can't customize your character and play as who you want to play as. Now, if this game was marketed as like a cyberpunk experience where you could put yourself into the Star Wars universe, or hell, even a Star Wars MMO like SWTOR, if they marketed SWTOR to be this MMO where you could put yourself in the Star Wars universe and then you were stuck playing gendered characters, like if it was a Korean MMO and they gender gated different classes, I could see people being upset about that. But this is an open world game, not an MMO, not a role-playing game. And I don't know if you're conflating those two things because you're trying to make a disingenuous argument or you're just stupid, but it's not appreciated. The author goes on to say, "It's interesting that people really only seem to care about this when the protagonist is a woman, though, and by interesting, I mean very obviously misogynistic. In games like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, Breath of the Wild, and The Witcher, your gender is locked. You can't customize your character in any real, meaningful way. Your character is fixed. and nobody complains about not being able to customize their characters because they're still great, well-made, compelling games. It's okay to admit you can only care about diversity when it means you're represented. If you're going to be annoying on the internet, you might as well be honest about why. My God, do you see what I meant when I said the most bitter, condescending nonsense of a gaming article that I've ever covered on this channel? It is just seeping with every word. You could just feel how much hate she has for the games industry and gamers. It is pretty ridiculous. I feel like this author is just fighting this imaginary battle that she's made up for herself because, again, we have zero evidence as anybody being upset about this game. And I'm sure you could go on and find a couple of no-name Twitter accounts, Joe bunch of numbers, because obviously there's always going to be those trolls. Don't get me wrong, it's never going to be zero. But usually these progressive writers for sites like this and the Mary Sue single out specific personalities like Nerdrotic or Heels vs. Babyface or Ryan Kinnell, people that they could attribute quote-unquote hate speech to. But that's completely absent here. But it's funny that the author mentions honesty, because as she says, if you're going to be annoying on the internet, you might as well be honest about why. And I think she's being very dishonest about this article. I don't think there's all this outrage about this Star Wars character, Hanita Solo. I think it's because the only way the gamer and sites like the gamer can still maintain some form of relevancy is to farm hate clicks. So people like me who are sitting in my nice air-conditioned room with my what is this? La Croix sparkling lemon whatever naturally essenced sparkling water. So people like me could sit back and relax and have a good laugh about how utterly ridiculous articles like these are. And I love how we finally get a tweet, an example in this article, and it's just garbage from this Star Wars account where they're just saying the same thing that the author of this article is saying. Dudes when the game has a predefined white male protagonist. This game looks great. Dudes when a game has a predefined female protagonist. Looks cool. I just wish we could choose our gender, appearance, maybe even species. Diversity is important. Like they're making some profound point. This is not an RPG. It is not an MMO RPG. It is an open world game with a set character, and people don't even care. The worst that I've seen about this character is that she's a Han Solo ripoff, which so far, she's pretty much a Han Solo ripoff. It's that too cool rogue scoundrel attitude. And it's not really the character's fault. It's all we've seen of her so far. I mean, there's a good chance that throughout the game she's going to develop. We're going to get to know her better. And to this author's point earlier, talking about Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, Breath of the Wild, The Witcher, games where you couldn't pick your gender or really customize who your character was because you're playing a predetermined avatar. It might just turn out that she's a great character and that gamers everywhere come to view her as one of the other amazing female characters that we can add to the already super solid roster of beloved women game characters. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying that it could happen. And then all of this manufactured outrage is going to just dissipate. Of course, until we get another female in a video game and they write more nonsense articles where they make up boogeymen in their head and then spend all of their time shadowboxing them in the corner while we all point and laugh. We're in the home stretch. We got 2 more paragraphs left. We see these arguments all the time online. We saw it with Horizon Zero Dawn and The Last of Us 2. Now, hold on. What about Horizon Zero Dawn? Was it about Aloy? Because again, I touched on this earlier. No one was complaining about her. People tend to like her. It was the fact the developers made her look ugly. Objectively ugly. This photo is terrible. It does not look flattering. We all have our angles, but that one's not hers. And it's not her fault. It's the developers. If anything, it was the patriarchy keeping her down, okay? I'm on your side here with this one, the gamer. And of course, The Last of Us 2, you're talking about Abby. So yeah, you're not gonna win anyone over on that. Abby's dog shit, just an awful, irredeemable character. But I will give you a bone. I'll throw you a bone here. I did see a lot of people talking about Ellie being a lesbian. I don't have any problem with that. I don't understand the big deal with that. I feel like if we were just talking about Ellie in The Last of Us 2, you would have much more of a leg to stand on, but that's not what we're talking about here. She goes on to say, smaller games that aren't part of huge IPs like Control and A Plague Tale manage to escape the worst of it, but the bigger a series is, the more misogynists want to dunk on it. And that's not true at all. It just so happens to be more in the spotlight, so more people are going to have eyes on it, of course. But with Control, people like Control. It's a great game. Nothing negative to say about the main character. A Plague Tale, people seem to like the characters in that game. The sibling pairing worked really well, which should go to show you that when you have a well-written, well-developed character, or in A Plague Tale's case, characters, no one's going to say anything negative because it's good. We all like that. We want that. It doesn't matter if they're male, female, black, white, gay, straight. It doesn't matter. We just want good characters and good games. If you told me that in The Witcher 4 I had to play as a female Witcher, or I played as Ciri, I wouldn't care. Because one, if I had the choice, I'd play as a female Witcher anyway. And two, Ciri is amazing. She's a badass, strong, likable, competent character. The paragraph continues, it's always boggled my mind that people could be so self-absorbed over something so silly. Out of the thousands of games made with male protagonists, suddenly gamers turn into champions of representation for all when faced with having to have empathy for a character that doesn't look like them. I'm sorry. This author talking about being self-absorbed. Pot, meet kettle. I feel like this whole article, I don't want to say it's been one big cope. It just feels like a therapy session. Like the scrawlings in a journal that she's going to go give to her therapist. Like that's this whole thing. And I feel like right now, I'm the therapist. Are the misogynists in the room with you right now? Are they here with us? What are they saying? It's like I'm trying to talk her off the ledge. Oh my god. I do agree with her here on this point. The great thing about video games is that nobody's holding a gun to your head telling you to play them or suffer unspeakable pain. Sounds kind of fun to me. Oh shit, is this still recording? Fuck. You simply don't have to open your wallet and shell out money for it. And she's completely right. I 100% agree with that. Just don't yell at gamers if the game ends up sucking and no one buys it, because you know you're going to see a flood of articles about how misogyny kept the sales down. People don't want to play as a girl. That's why this game's not selling. When in reality, it's just going to be a Ubisoft game, so probably going to have the same litany of bugs Ubisoft games has, perhaps the same bland open world, climb this tower, go do random fetch quests for forgettable NPCs. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It's pure speculation, but I can already see the headlines now. Misogyny lives in a galaxy far, far away. Even in the deepest recesses of space, misogyny persists. Or we can go with a Rise of Skywalker line. Somehow, misogyny has returned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're going to be wrapping up here. One more paragraph to go. As we say every time this debate rages anew, it's extremely silly to have a hissy fit because you'll have to play as a woman in a video game. I don't really think that we've had this debate, nor has it raged anew multiple times. I don't really think people care when they have to play as a girl in video games, and I think that you have failed to show that people care in this article because I have no examples. Meanwhile, you have countless examples of strong female characters that people love. Again, you have characters like Samus, you have Zelda, Lara Croft, Bayonetta, Joanna Dark. God, I remember playing Perfect Dark on the N64. That was an amazing game. Let's continue. But more than that, it's a huge indicator of the right-wing conservative trends in gaming as a whole. And the fact that misogyny seems to be getting worse as gaming companies branch out into female-led games is extremely concerning. Just say Gamergate. We all know you want to go there. I think they might be a little embarrassed at this point to bring up Gamergate That's why we start seeing terms like Gamergate adjacent in stupid articles like these. But yes, the famously right-wing conservative hobby of gaming. And the fact that this author is saying now that companies are starting to branch out into female-led games, it's so stupid because we've had female leads in games for decades now. I don't mean to keep repeating the same point, but when it's brought up so many times in so many different ways, I just don't know what else to do but just kind of shrug and say, what the fuck are you talking about? Vera Dark tweeted out a huge list of women in games. Are we just supposed to memory hole all of those? Yeah, they're now branching out into female lead games, but those ones over there, shut the fuck up. Shut your mouth. Don't even talk about those. Don't look at those. It's foolish to think that online trolling and misogyny have no real life effects, especially after what happened to the Thug Shaker Central Discord server. I can't fucking believe she brings this up. I'm not gonna go into what that was. They link the article right here. Somebody leaked classified documents on Discord. Just go read it. We just went from 0 to 100 real quick. Hey, you don't like playing as this Star Wars character? Well, the next step is leaking military classified documents, you right-winger. The author continues, it's a symptom of increasing political polarization and a willingness to be dicks about a woman character on the internet that does, unfortunately, point out a willingness to be a dick to women in real life. Now, hang on just a second. We're not talking about being dicks to real women on the internet. What you were talking about was men complaining or people complaining about having to play as a girl in a video game. That is very different from somebody being an asshole to actual women online. But then to go and make the leap that just because somebody is a troll online means that's how they're going to react in person, I don't really see that. I think there's a lot of people on both sides of this, trolls included, that are just internet tough girls and tough guys. People hide under the guise of anonymity. It's just really what's going to happen on the internet. That's why you can't and shouldn't take everything at face value, and you shouldn't get offended so easily about these things from random Twitter users. But you can't go from thinking that guys are upset about playing as a girl in a video game to guys are harassing women on the internet, meaning that guys are going to harass those women in real life. I think that's a very, very large leap. Okay, let's wrap this up. Every time a new game launches with a female protagonist, I find myself holding my breath, hoping that maybe this time gamers won't be such beasts about it. I always find myself disappointed. Well, I have some good news for you. Nobody is forcing you to be here. Nobody is forcing you to interact with gamers. And the fact that you, as a games journalist, hold such a low opinion of gamers, the people that you're supposedly writing these articles for, which, let's be honest, you're writing these articles for political junkies who have no way of actually contributing to politics, so they want to just insert themselves into political arguments and use video games as a way to do it. But you have such a low opinion of gamers. I don't really think you play many games or interact with a lot of people who play games. Sure, there's some shitty people out there. I mean, just jump into a Call of Duty lobby. But play a game like Final Fantasy XIV, where the community is amazing. I've never met such a supportive and open group in any game. It is one of the reasons why I love that game so much, and I've been playing it for so long. But it just really rubs me the wrong way, especially coming from sites like The Gamer and Eurogamer and Kotaku. You know, these sites that are just meant for gamers, supposedly, just to see them shit talk the community so much. It just doesn't sit well with me. And that's why I spend 30 plus minutes going through these articles, tearing them apart for not only our enjoyment, but also kind of just my own sanity. Sure, I lose a shred of sanity when I go through these articles, but it's the laughter that just kind of helps me maintain. It revives me, it nourishes me. And I hope it does a little bit for you too. That's what I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a long one. I hope you liked this because I'm not used to it. A lot of the things that I said in this video I would usually cut out, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna cut out some of my breathing, my mouth breathing microphone moments, and just let it go. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. If you do want to see more rant videos where I'm much more off the cuff, let me know down in the comment section below. By the way, if you still haven't told me what your favorite Star Wars game is, I see that. I know who you are. I'm looking at you. If you liked the video, don't forget to drop a like. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any more Metal Gear Mando content that you so desperately need. And don't forget, I'll be gone for about a week. I might try to put out another really short video, but I don't know. My work schedule in this and just trying to cram everything before we drive down to LA. No promises, but I hope you enjoy this one. And before we go, I want to give a huge, massive shout out to all of my beautiful channel members. I'm including everybody now. I don't really do enough to my channel tiers. I was only including the top 2 tiers, but now everyone's going to be included. I love you all. You're amazing, and thank you so much for all of the continued support. If you want to join this rank of elite Giga Chads and Giga Chadettes, just hit the join button right down there. It's near subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you in the next video.